Well, first of all, he's 6'5", so he's a tall guy. Um, he's not, he's a pocket passer, but again, you have to know where he's at because he will pull the ball down and run. But he'll stay in the pocket and he'll throw those balls downfield. Strong arm, long arm, with the deep throws. He can throw the intermediate routes well. He's got touch. He's got guys he can throw it and they can run under it. So obviously, when you look at the way he plays, the style that they play, they want to be a physical, tough running team. But he also exhibited, a skill of being able to throw the ball like that makes him pretty special. So, their passing game, their passing efficiency will be against our passing our passing defense and what we do. But first and foremost, I mean, when you look at them play, they want to run the ball, and that's something that they've done well. In the games you look at, again, I talked about Coach Chris, and the Wisconsin kind of identity. So, we'll go into the game, as we always do. We need to stop the run, and then when we play pass, we need to play the pass to make sure we don't get hurt by it. Definitely, they definitely can stretch the field. I mean, you never know when you watch tape what the intent of the defense was. You don't know if it was a blown coverage or if it was just a personnel matchup where a guy just ran by a guy, but whatever, it still resulted in long plays, and they both did a nice job. Boyd is a freshman. The running back, Connor, is a freshman, so, there are two young players that obviously are very much important in terms of their production on offense. Street is a tall receiver, about 6'4", 6'5". So, he presents, another challenge in terms of just, his vertical ability in terms of, going against defensive backs. And then a quarterback that had a career day and throwing the ball to those guys. So it'll be important for us, as we said. I mean, we're going to do what we do, but at the same time, you have to recognize, we always talk about the who and the what. And coming out of the Duke game, there were a few players on their team that did a job that raised eyebrows. The biggest thing is just getting acclimated to play in college football games in an arena, in the setting where there's no coaches on the field. And so, as we've progressed over the last, couple games, that's what they've learned. That's what they've, have been used to. And so now, obviously, the venue changes because you're going on the road and you're playing in a professional stadium, which happens to be their home stadium as well. And so, human nature, you get all the oohs and the ahs out of the way, and you just boil down to the fact that it's a 100-yard field, just like it is at Scott Stadium, just like it is when we at the McHugh Center where we practice. And what matters is what happens. And we've heard it before, but what happens between the white lines. And so there is a little bit of element of a true freshman playing, but at the same time, I think that concentrating on the task at hand and what needs to be done in the football game is where our guys at this point are starting to mature. Well, every game is important to us, and we're not looking at the back half of the schedule. We're looking at who we have right in front of us right now, and the opportunities that are presented to us now. So. We know the challenges that are ahead, and the biggest challenge is on the road against Pittsburgh, and everything else will take care of itself after that. But, our goal is to be successful. Our goal is to win football games, and our goal is to go on the road and win our first on the road, game. So it's important that our mindset is just focused on, the right here and now. Everybody looks at the schedule and everybody's keeping tabs of who's playing who. But again, as we started out with the first two opponents, the last opponent, this opponent is another team that presents challenges to us that we have to play well in order to win. Seeing that opportunity and seeing Tim come up with the catch like that was something that we know the receivers have in them. And David has options, to throw the ball deep or throw, the deep 7-cut route or the combinations of routes that are out there. And, it's all about confidence. And I think during the course of practice and as we go forward, being able to do what we want to do, use the quarterback, run the ball, and throw the ball deep, then we want to put pressure on the defense to defend, to defend a lot of areas. And if they just if they play on top of our receivers and not respect any go routes or takeoffs and play everything, medium to shallow, then that causes issues for your running game and even for a quarterback. But if you can throw the ball deep and open things up like that, then you give yourself a better chance. So we will continue to keep trying to throw the ball deep. There was one thrown to Jake as well, and he kind of dropped that on the sideline. And as I said, in the routes, there are built-in throws that if it's there, then we'll throw it deep. And I know as we move forward here that now, David will be looking to throw those balls, deeper and get into those guys' hands that can run for us. I remember several of those games, 2006, 2007, and the bowl game when they had Larry Fitzgerald.
But so that was your first game back.
Yes.
After returning. So you remember had to get better after that?
Well, yeah, it did. But that was now a different team, a different mindset. Coach Chris now, when you watch Pittsburgh play, they have that, kind of that Wisconsin flavor in terms of wanting to really be, ground oriented. But, this particular game that they just played, obviously, the quarterback Savage did a great job, threw 6 touchdown passes. So, the other games you watch Pittsburgh play, I mean, they're very, very physical. They like to run the ball. And this game they just played, it went the other way, and they ended up throwing the ball. Had a lot of dynamic, big plays down the field. So, but yeah, I do remember the games against Pittsburgh there at home, and then in the Continental Tire Bowl. No, true. Very true. I think when you go through the finding out what you want to be and what you want to accomplish, particularly when we had that open week, to find out what we wanted to be. Being able to start fast as we just saw, and not being able to do that, can put you in jeopardy when you're playing, a really good football team. And so it is important to get out early, or it is important to establish a field position that will give you a chance. It is important to hang on to the football and not create a short field, for the defense. Although I thought the defense did a tremendous job in keeping them out of the end zone. I think our average field position was at like the 44-yard line. Theirs was the minus 26. So when you go back and forth at the end of the game, you see where things add up. But when you look at the beginning of the game and the opportunities that were presented to us, we didn't capitalize on it. So I think it's very important for us offensively to capitalize on limiting those turnovers, on having a running game that can get us into the red zone and being productive in the running game, using our quarterback, and also not being afraid to throw the ball deep to guys like Tim Smith or Darius Jennings. Trey's improving. It's not too many balls were thrown, his way this particular game, but there'll be plenty of opportunities for him to show how much of an improvement, particularly this week. We just talked about, David just talked about the receivers, Street and Boyd, and how productive they were. I'm quite sure that Trey will have his hands full with playing, either or both of those two guys. But the thing about Trey is, he wants to line up against the other team's best. I mean, he started the first game since his freshman year, and you got to have some nerves, you got to have some confidence back there, and you got to have a short memory, because things happen sometimes. But again, Trey's been steady, and he continues to improve. The offense is called, based on personnel groups as well. So at times that's predicated by down and distance, first, second down, runs or passes, and then third down, whether it's a protection down or whatever it may be. And I think that I don't know how many carries Kevin ended up having, I think close to 17. And as the game started going on and getting out of hand after a couple of his runs, Daniel Ham and the other cast of guys that went in, presented themselves to take advantage of opportunities as well. So in a close game where you have, KP into a rhythm, whether that's, you staying in every first, second, and third down play, I mean, that remains to be seen. But obviously, he did do a great job, fantastic job with not only breaking the one long run, catching the ball, making a long run out of it. But there were a number of times that he'd go through the line of scrimmage and their defender would come up and tackle him and he'd stay on his feet. In fact, I showed one to the team the other day we talk about effort. It kind of reminded me of, this play would kind of remind me of the BYU game after Anthony's interception. The guy came up to tackle him. It was a solid hit. Kevin's got such a low center of gravity that he stayed on his feet and got into the end zone. This play that I showed the team was kind of the same type of play, which spoke to the effort that that individuals that they give us enough of. I like our chances of winning. So Kevin, with several games left to play, we'll have plenty of opportunities to give him the ball and see what he can do with it.